The Game Awards 2025 dropped some seriously big reveals, from surprise announcements to trailers that instantly got everyone talking. Here are the 20 biggest game reveals from the Game Awards 2025. Resident Evil Requiem instantly grabbed attention at the Game Awards 2025 for one clear reason. Leon Kennedy is back. And the trailer doesn't ease into it. You see Leon older and carrying a lot of history on his face. Just that alone tells you this isn't some side project. Capcom clearly wants this to feel like a major moment for the series. What makes things more interesting is the introduction of a new character, Grace Ashcroft. Her sections look slower and more tense, leaning into classic survival horror with less action and more pressure. Leon's parts, on the other hand, feel more aggressive and confident, but still grounded. Switching between the two looks like a smart way to keep the game from feeling repetitive. Resident Evil Requiem already feels like one of the most important reveals from the show.
Dr. Gideon has been expecting you.
You there, Leon?
Yeah.
Hey, over here.
FBI, what are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.
But it lit a fire that still burns. I need to see more. I need to go further. To uncover the secrets of Atlantis. Some legends are destined to be retold.
Tomb Raider: The Legend of Atlantis feels like Lara Croft going back to what she does best, chasing a myth that might actually get her killed. The reveal sets things up around the Legend of Atlantis, and right away you get that classic sense of danger and curiosity. What stood out is how much the game leans into exploration again. Lara isn't just running from one action scene to the next. She's climbing through massive ruins, solving puzzles, and slowly uncovering what Atlantis really is. From what we've seen, the developers are clearly aiming for a modern Tomb Raider that still respects the roots of the series. It looks polished, confident, and focused on adventure first. If this is the direction they're going, The Legend of Atlantis could end up being one of those Tomb Raider games people talk about for a long time.
I knew it. You'd never break so easily. But why did you come back?
The Order's blades are coming. They failed once, but they won't fail again.
Phantom Blade Zero was one of those reveals at the Game Awards 2025 that got fans talking, because it looks like a fresh take on action games with a unique twist. The trailer drops you into a world that feels gritty and fast. The story centers on a mysterious warrior who wakes up with no memory and soon gets wrapped up in a conspiracy involving dark forces and a collapsing city. You're not just fighting hordes of enemies, you're unraveling what happened to you and why the world around you is falling apart. That mix of personal mystery and big threats gives it a weight that keeps you curious. Gameplay looks fluid and intense. Combat is fast, combo-heavy, and seems to reward timing and movement more than button mashing. You'll dash, parry, and chain attacks in ways that make fights feel like a kung fu instead of a blocky hack and slash.
All right. Talk soon.
On your feet, now! Son of a... Fuck it! Just kill him!
Gang of Dragons stood out the moment the trailer started rolling, mostly because you could instantly feel who was behind it. This is the first big game from Nagoshi Studio, led by the creator of the Yakuza Like a Dragon series, and that DNA is all over it. The game is set in Tokyo, and you play as Shinji, a member of a Korean crime syndicate trying to survive and climb higher in a brutal underworld. The story looks grounded and personal, more like a crime drama than a superhero fantasy. You're dealing with gangs, power struggles, and choices that feel messy, not clean or heroic. This reveal matters because it's Nagoshi Studio's first real statement as an independent team. If they can land the combat feel and storytelling they're known for, Gang of Dragon could easily become one of those games people didn't expect, but end up talking about the most after the show. Control Resonant instantly caught attention because it feels like Remedy doubling down on the weird, reality-bending stuff they're really good at. If you played Alan Wake 2, you'll recognize that same unsettling tone right away. This time, the focus shifts away from the oldest house and into a much larger, messier situation. The reveal shows reality breaking apart on a citywide scale, gravity acting strange, and supernatural events spilling out into the open. Story-wise, it's still tied to the Control universe, but it looks more personal and more chaotic, like things have gone way past containment. Gameplay also looks a bit different. There's still that signature Remedy action, but it seems more aggressive and physical this time. This looks like Remedy pushing their connected universe even further. After seeing how confident they were with Alan Wake 2, this feels like the next step.
Do you feel it? Something is coming. An intrusive pattern. Of staggering power. Reshaping reality as we know it. Everything we tried to keep inside eventually worms its way out.
The Godslayer surprised a lot of people at the Game Awards 2025 with its first real look at what this RPG is aiming for. It's an open-world, third-person action fantasy from Pathia Games. In the story, humans once learned how to use their inner energy, called Chi, to grow powerful, and that angered the gods. When they struck back, the event called the Godfall wiped out the strongest kingdom and shattered peace. You play as Cheng, an Elemancer whose family was lost in that day, and now he's out to take down those divine rulers and free his people. Gameplay shown so far mixes freeform combat and elemental magic. You can bend water, fire, earth, metal, and wood to fight enemies, create barriers, or even change how the battlefield looks. It feels like a blend of martial arts and elemental powers where creativity matters. Lords of the Fallen 2 got a big moment at the Game Awards 2025 with its first real gameplay trailer. Fans are buzzing about it. This sequel builds on the dark fantasy, Souls-like action of the first game, but aims to take things further. Bigger bosses, tougher foes, and a world that actually feels dangerous. The new footage showed off multiple enemy types and brutal encounters. Gameplay revealed at the show looks tight and visceral. Combat keeps that weighty, strategic feel fans love. Dodging, striking, managing stamina, and punishing mistakes. While dismemberment and enemy reactions add a raw edge to every fight. The dual realm mechanic from the previous game might return in expanded form too, letting you switch between life and death realms for puzzle or combat advantages. The story picks up about a century after the last game, in a shattered kingdom where darkness is spreading.
Through shadow, I will walk them with you, wherever they may lead, no matter the cost. It's a sin.
But should you fall, the world falls with you.
Tides of Annihilation was one of those reveals that made people actually pay attention. The trailer drops you into a broken version of London where reality has collapsed and ancient myth has taken over. Streets are torn apart, and the whole place looks like it fell apart overnight. The story follows Gwendolyn, one of the last survivors, trying to save her sister and understand what caused the invasion. The game pulls ideas from Arthurian legends, knights, old myths, and the Holy Grail, but places them in a modern disaster setting. That mix is what makes it stand out right away. Gameplay looks fast and stylish. Combat focuses on close-range fighting, but the big hook is summoning spectral knights to help you in battle. You can switch between them, chain attacks, and use different abilities depending on the situation. It looks smooth and controlled.
Holy Grail, blood. This is a feast only for the king.
Gwendolyn, this is your final warning.
My quarrel lies not with you, but I will take back everything that belongs to me. Even if the price is my soul.
Soulframe feels like a big shift for the studio behind Warframe, and that's exactly why people are paying attention. Instead of fast sci-fi gunplay, this one slows things down and leans into fantasy. The game puts you in the role of an envoy, exploring a broken land tied to nature, spirits, and ancient forces. It's not about rushing from fight to fight. Movement feels heavier, combat is more deliberate, and positioning actually matters. You're mixing melee attacks, magic abilities, and careful timing rather than spamming buttons. What's interesting is how the game is being built. Digital Extremes is letting players jump in early through their preludes tests, slowly shaping the game over time. That tells you this is a long-term project, not something being rushed out the door. They're clearly experimenting and listening, which fits the slower, more thoughtful tone they're going for.
And Siri. Sneaky, sneaky. Stole a golden lash before I could gift it. Taught cross the starling bow. When felling fields burn, My gifts returned. Sharp end first. So wear the hide of wild kin for thee, envoy. My arm, my skin. Find me, fawn. Betray me again.
No Law came out of nowhere and instantly stood out because of how chaotic and aggressive it looks. The reveal trailer didn't waste time. It just showed pure mayhem. Gangs, guns, explosions, and a city that feels completely out of control. From the first few seconds, you can tell this isn't a clean, heroic shooter. It's messy, loud, and unapologetic. The game is built around fast, close-quarters combat. Movement looks quick, gunfights are brutal, and everything feels designed to keep you moving instead of hiding behind cover. It looks more arcade-style than tactical, but in a way that feels intentional and fun. The story is about surviving in a city where authority has collapsed. You're not saving the world, you're trying to make it through alive, and that grounded angle helps it feel different from typical shooter stories. No Law could end up being one of those sleeper reveals people don't forget from the show.
Learn something real simple. You reap what you sow.
Ace Combat 8 was one of those reveals that instantly clicked with longtime fans. The trailer didn't over-explain anything. It just showed fast jets, huge skies, and intense dogfights, and honestly, that was enough. You can tell right away this is classic Ace Combat, just pushed way harder with modern tech. The story puts you in the middle of a large-scale conflict, flying as part of an elite squad after your homeland is attacked. It's not just about shooting down enemy jets, it's about pressure, loyalty, and surviving missions where things can go wrong fast. Gameplay looks exactly like what fans want. Arcade-style flying that feels smooth and responsive, missiles flying everywhere, close calls through clouds, and those moments where you barely dodge a lock-on. After such a long wait since the last main entry, Ace Combat 8 feels like a confident return, and one of the standout reveals from the show.
Let's keep at it, Rex.
Ray, heads up!
On your orders, Rex.
To keep hope alive, Wings of Theve must stay on the mission, must fly on.
I can make up your kill count to be whatever.
Right. From now on, you'll be the greatest ace pilot this war will ever know.
Aniimo is one of those reveals that looks cute at first, then slowly shows it has more depth than you expect. The trailer starts light and colorful, but once you see the gameplay, it's clear this isn't just another cute creature game. You're exploring a big world, teaming up with these Aniimo, and actually fighting alongside them in real time. The combat looks active and fast. You move, dodge, attack, and swap Aniimo on the fly instead of standing around picking commands from a menu. Each creature has its own abilities, so it feels like the fun comes from mixing and matching your team and figuring out what works best. From what was shown, this feels like a passion project. Clean visuals, smooth animations, and a clear identity. If it lands the way the reveal suggests, Aniimo could be one of those surprise games people end up really loving.
For many years you've sent waves of stone soldiers we've decimated. What can you achieve with your solitude that thousands couldn't?
Not thousands.
Millions!
Solasta 2 showed up and quietly impressed a lot of people who love classic RPGs. The reveal didn't try to be flashy or cinematic. Instead, it focused on what actually matters here: party-based combat, smart positioning, and real tabletop-style choices. Right away, it felt like a game that knows its audience. From what was shown, the core gameplay is still built around turn-based battles where positioning, line of sight, and abilities really matter. You're not just clicking attacks and waiting for numbers to go up. Every fight feels more like solving a problem with your party's skills. The first game was solid, but pretty straightforward. This sequel seems more focused on characters, choices, and giving you reasons to care about what you're doing beyond just winning fights. Solasta 2 is shaping up to be one of the more interesting reveals from the show. Forest 3 showed up and instantly got fans of the series excited. This new reveal makes it clear they're going bigger and darker this time, with larger areas to explore and way more threats hiding out there. Gameplay still revolves around survival first. You're gathering supplies, building shelter, crafting weapons, and trying to stay one step ahead of enemies that don't give you much breathing room. What stood out in the reveal is how much more active the world feels. It looks like there's less downtime and more moments where you have to react fast, whether you're defending your base or running for your life. There also seems to be more focus on story now. Instead of everything being vague and mysterious, Forest 3 hints at clearer goals and deeper lore. You're not just surviving day to day, you're slowly uncovering what's really going on around you, and that adds a lot to the tension. Antos was a really interesting reveal from Frictional Games, especially if you know their history with Amnesia and Soma. Instead of going back to dark castles or underwater labs, this time they're moving into a sci-fi setting. The trailer drops you into a strange hotel on the moon, and right away it feels off. The story follows an engineer searching for her missing father, but it quickly becomes clear this isn't just a personal mystery. Gameplay looks focused on exploration and atmosphere rather than combat. You're moving through environments, solving problems, and dealing with psychological pressure instead of fighting monsters non-stop. If you've played their previous games, you already know they're good at making silence feel dangerous. If you like slow-burn horror, heavy atmosphere, and stories that mess with your head, this was one of the most intriguing reveals from the show.
Then you have to step beyond the walls surround you. Play your father's game. Push the very limits until you're in reality itself breaks.
A little help here. Look out! What are you doing?
Pragmata showing up again was honestly a nice surprise. This is one of those games people have been wondering about for years, and this time it actually looked real and playable. The story seems to center on an astronaut and a young android girl trying to survive together. You can already tell their relationship is a big part of the game, not just background story. It feels more focused on the journey and the connection between them. Gameplay looks more thoughtful than flashy. Combat isn't just about shooting. There's hacking, positioning, and working together with the android during fights. It looks like you'll need to slow down, think, and use both characters smartly instead of rushing in. If everything comes together, Pragmata could end up being one of those unique sci-fi games that sticks with you. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined was one of those reveals that felt quiet at first, then slowly grew on people. If you know the original, you already know how big and long that game was, and this new version looks like it's finally giving it the modern treatment it always needed. Gameplay sticks to classic turn-based combat, but with a lot of quality upgrades. Battles move faster, enemies are visible in the world, and the job system has been improved so it feels more flexible and less grindy. It still feels like Dragon Quest, just smoother and easier to stick with for long sessions. The story is still about exploring a broken world piece by piece. You and your party discover these ancient fragments that send you back in time to lost lands, where you fix problems that ripple into the present. Bradley and the Badger was one of those reveals that felt weird in the best way. At first, it looks like a cute platformer with a cartoon badger, but then the trailer keeps getting stranger. Levels glitch out, worlds change style, and suddenly you realize this game isn't playing things straight at all. The setup is simple but clever. Bradley gets pulled out of his own bright, friendly world and dropped into broken game environments that feel unfinished or straight up wrong. Some areas look like dark fantasy, others feel sci-fi or totally unpolished on purpose. Gameplay leans into that idea hard. You're not just jumping and dodging, you're messing with the game itself. Resizing objects, stretching platforms, changing how things behave to solve puzzles or reach new areas. It feels playful, like the devs want you to experiment and break things instead of following one correct path.
I really transformed myself.
This thing is amazing!
Made a bunch of new friends. Picked up new wheels. Figured out how to think big and small. I had it all. And then the code broke down. Where are they? And that's when I found you.
Are the defenders of Leiden's future. And we will fight to protect it.
The fight for survival has consequences. How far are you willing to venture? How much are you willing to sacrifice?
Exodus opens in a future where humanity is scattered across space and clearly losing control of things. You're thrown into a galaxy ruled by powerful beings called the Celestials, while regular humans are stuck fighting to survive. Speaking of development, this is coming from a studio formed by former Mass Effect devs, and that influence is obvious. Gameplay mixes third-person combat with special abilities and exploration. You're using guns, powers, and the environment itself to survive encounters. It looks flexible, not forcing one playstyle, which fits the RPG roots the developers are aiming for. This isn't a fast, flashy shooter. It looks like a story-first sci-fi RPG where choices matter. You play as June Aslan, a salvager who slowly realizes they're tied to something much bigger than they thought. The story hints at legacy, sacrifice, and how far humanity is willing to go just to stay alive. Stupid Never Dies immediately stands out because it doesn't take itself seriously at all. And that's the point. The reveal throws you into a colorful, over-the-top world where logic takes a back seat and fun is clearly the main goal. Gameplay looks like pure arcade-style action. Combat is quick, flashy, and all about momentum. You fight enemies, steal their abilities, and slap those powers onto your own build, which means your character can change a lot depending on how you play. It feels experimental in a fun way, not complicated or heavy. From a development angle, this is coming from a new studio made up of veterans of big action games, led by former Devil May Cry and Resident Evil folks, and you can feel that experience in how smooth everything looks. Stupid Never Dies feels like one of those surprise reveals people didn't expect, but will definitely remember. Star Wars Galactic Race was one of those reveals that instantly hit people with nostalgia, but still felt new. The trailer wasted no time. Fast ships, wild tracks, and that classic Star Wars sense of speed and chaos. You're a racer trying to climb your way up through a dangerous galactic racing league, competing across different planets and outlaw circuits. It's less about saving the galaxy, and more about proving yourself, winning races, and building a name in a universe that doesn't play fair. Gameplay looks fast and arcadey in a good way. High speeds, boosting at the right moment, and managing your ship so it doesn't fall apart mid-race. Each vehicle seems to handle differently, so it's not just about raw speed, it's about control and knowing your ride. The devs clearly want to bring back that Star Wars racing energy with modern visuals and smoother controls, without overcomplicating it. Saros opens with a quiet but tense setup. A distant planet, a colony that's gone silent, and one soldier sent in to figure out what went wrong. From the trailer alone, you can feel that something is seriously off. What grabbed a lot of people is how the gameplay looks. It's fast, sharp, and very movement-focused. You're dodging, shooting, and reacting constantly. Combat has that rhythm where timing really matters, especially with parries and close calls that can turn a fight around in a second. It looks intense, but also very controlled if you know what you're doing. The story is about a soldier trying to survive and uncover what happened on this planet. There's a clear push toward stronger narrative moments compared to the studio's earlier work, which is a big deal. If it all comes together, Saros could end up being one of those action games people don't stop talking about after launch.
I won't break our promise. I will make everything perfect again. I know you're here, and I will find you.
Mankind is beset by endless tides of aliens, traitors, and demons.
Total War Warhammer 40,000 was one of those reveals that instantly made people do a double take. Seeing the Total War formula jump into the 40k universe, instead of swords and castles, you're dealing with space marines, massive guns, and a galaxy that's been at war forever. Instead of medieval maps, you're now dealing with planets, star systems, and factions that are always at each other's throats. Space marines and other iconic armies are front and center, and the scale feels bigger than anything Total War has done before. The setting does a lot of heavy lifting too. Warhammer 40k is all about non-stop conflict, and that fits perfectly with this series. Every faction feels aggressive in its own way, and it looks like Creative Assembly is leaning hard into that grim, over-the-top tone instead of holding back. Decrepit was one of those reveals that quietly grabbed people who love tough, old-school action. The trailer drops you into a decaying castle where everything wants you dead, and there's no big setup or safety net. You wake up in a cell, step outside, and immediately realize this place is designed to beat you down until you learn how it works. The main hook is the loop. You fight, you die, and you get dragged back to the dungeon, literally. But every run teaches you something new. Enemy patterns start to click, shortcuts open up, and you slowly figure out how to survive longer instead of just swinging wildly. It's first person, so every fight feels close, and timing matters a lot. Combat looks heavy and deliberate. You manage stamina, pick your moments, and decide when to push or back off. Divinity showed up as one of those reveals that instantly spoke to RPG fans who love deep systems and real choices. The trailer leaned into world building and dialogue instead of flashy action, and that alone told you what kind of game this wants to be. This is coming from Larian Studios, the same team behind Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2, and most recently, Baldur's Gate 3. After how well Baldur's Gate 3 landed, a lot of people trust this team to deliver another deep, well-written RPG. Story-wise, it leans hard into player choice. Conversations can go in different directions, quests don't always have clean outcomes, and your decisions actually affect the world and the people in it. It feels less like following a script and more like running your own campaign. That style will feel very familiar if you've played Divinity Original Sin 2.